this has been reapplied in case of Chandigarh. And very interesting is what happened after the installation of Chandigarh. Chandigarh is one of the seldom ideal cities that have been actually built. Now I want to pass over to Lavni Thakur. He's member of the Punjab Haryana High Court, which is a part of the Chandigarh ensemble of the official buildings. And he will present us about Chandigarh. We had a very interesting meeting last year with Lavnit on the spot. Hello.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ulrich. So, first of all, I would like to thank Ulrich from Idle Spaces, who have given me a chance to be here. So, today I'm talking about Chandigarh. Chandigarh, my topic is cultural heritage, new housing, what to avoid. Chandigarh story. So, distinguished guests, scholars, and fellow participants, I come before you as a lawyer from India, and more specifically, as someone who has lived and worked in the region of Chandigarh, a city that has for decades symbolized the dream of urban modernity in India. Today, I want to share a case study that is not only close to my heart but vital to our shared global conversation on how cultural heritage and thoughtful planning must guide new housing developments and what we must avoid if we are to ensure healthy and humane cities. So, Chandigarh was a city born out of vision. India got independence in 1947. So, Chandigarh is India's first planned city post independence, conceived in 1950s by the Swiss architect Le Corbusier. It was built as a symbol of progress, hope, and order in a newly divided nation. Every aspect of its layout, from traffic, circulation, and residential sectors to green spaces and public institutions, was meticulously thought through. It is not an exaggeration to say that Chandigarh embodies the idea of urban living as a cultural experience, blending architecture, nature, and civic life. Each residential sector in Chandigarh was designed as a self-contained unit with its own school, healthcare center, market, green parks, and community spaces. Roads were laid out in a hierarchical system known famously as 7 Vs to separate pedestrian, slow moving, and fast moving traffic. Commercial areas were built with the shade and pedestrian comfort in mind. In short, the city was not just designed to accommodate people, it was designed to enhance their lives. Chandigarh serves not only as a city for its residents but also a center of administration, judiciary, education, health for the states of Punjab, Haryana. It is a union territory and it houses both Punjab and Haryana legislative assemblies and High Court. Thousands of people come here daily from nearby states like Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu, and Kashmir, seeking medical treatment, legal services, education, and employment. Chandigarh's planning laws are worth noting. Like what makes Chandigarh's story even more significant is the way its heritage and identity have been protected through law. For decades, Chandigarh has maintained strict rules on construction. These include a prohibition on new construction that violates the original master plan, a ban on extension of existing houses or encroachment on green areas, a restriction on number of floors allowed typically limited to 3 stories, preservation of parks, open spaces, and public use land. There was an act, the Punjab New Capital Periphery Control Act 1952. In 1952, it was decided and an act was passed which restricts unplanned development within a 16-kilometer radius from Chandigarh. More recently, the Supreme Court of India has reaffirmed that the core 30 sectors of Chandigarh must be preserved, disallowing any floor-wise fragmentation or high-rise constructions that would destroy its planned identity. The court stated that unauthorized constructions would injure the lungs of the city, a poetic yet warning against the suffocation of the planned urban life. A city under pressure, growth without space. However, despite this vision and protection, Chandigarh has reached saturation. Its population has outgrown its original capacity. New construction is heavily regulated and land is scarce, making real estate extremely expensive. And there lies the crux of this issue. As more and more people aspire to live in or around Chandigarh for its education, hospitals, courts, or simply its quality of life, the pressure to expand has shifted to the periphery, surrounding areas like Mohali, Kharad, Zirakpur, Panchkula, Nayagaon. These areas have become hotspots for new housing developments. Now, this is the exact problem, which is called the periphery problem. Unfortunately, what could have been an opportunity for a well planned expansion turned into a cautionary tale. In these peripheral areas, local builders, lured by profit and emboldened by weak regulatory enforcement, began constructing high rise building and congested colonies without proper infrastructure or planning. These new constructions, while marketed as affordable and close to Chandigarh, often lack even the most basic urban amenities. No designated park or open spaces, no water drainage or sewer system, no pedestrian pathways, cycle tracks, narrow internal roads with no parking or service lanes, minimal sunlight, ventilation, or green buffers between buildings, no community halls, cultural places, or libraries. Why did this happen? Because in India, it is not housing is not just a physical need. It is deeply emotional. Our society teaches us that one must have roti, kapda, or makan, meaning food, clothing, and a house to feel secure and complete. Owning a home is seen as a mark of success and dignity. Builders have capitalized on this emotion by offering budget homes in unregulated territories, cutting costs, and by compromising on design, safety, and health. The consequences of this unchecked growth are very disturbing. Air and light, multi story buildings with reduced heights and poor spacing restrict air circulation and sunlight. This leads to a greater risk of respiratory problems, psychological disorders such as depression. Social isolation is also there. Unlike the sectors of Chandigarh that include community centers, parks, and gathering spaces, these new societies have no common areas. People live in isolation, without neighbors, without interaction, and urban loneliness that harms both mental and social health. There are also health hazards. The lack of park means the children don't play outdoors. When Mr. Ulrich visited India, we met a doctor, a very renowned doctor, Mr. Amit Gupta, a cardiologist from Chandigarh. He shared fear children, very few children are seen cycling, playing in these areas, leading to early lifestyle diseases. Adults too suffer from heart and metabolic diseases due to inactivity, pollution, and stress. Apart from these kind of problems, there is traffic chaos. These peripheral areas are riddled with traffic jams because of poor road design, absence of service roads. Highways have turned into local streets. Ambulances, police, and fire brigades often struggle to reach in time due to congestion. Crime and safety is also one of the major problems in these areas. Poor lighting, narrow lanes, unplanned layouts have made many of these places vulnerable to crime and drug abuse. This is there is little community oversight. The police presence is insufficient. Environmental degradation is also there. Houses are built on natural water channels and seasonal streams. In the event of heavy rains or floods, these channels can reactivate, flooding the entire societies. Waterlogging also leads to diseases like malaria, dengue, typhoid, and jaundice. In a sense of in a sense, people often under bank loans are buying these homes. They are buying future prisons. The pressure of loan repayments and the degraded quality life and the emotional distress have made many regret their decisions. Broken marriages, poor health, and financial anxiety are not uncommon in these townships. Now, what we think is what needs to be changed, that the laws must be respected and enforced. Definitely, there are certain laws, but I think violation is also there. The planning and zoning regulations that help Chandigarh become a model city must extend to its neighbor regions. Any construction without proper infrastructure for water, sewage, or electricity and open spaces should be denied approval. Second, the builders must be held accountable. Ethical construction must become the norm, not the exception. Developers must be required to include parks, wide roads, green belts, and community centers in every project. Third, the regional master planning is essential. Chandigarh, Mohali, Panchkula, and surrounding areas must be treated as one interlinked region with a unified vision. The state and the national governments must collaborate to create a regional plan that is binding, enforceable, and transparent. Fourth, the community engagement must be encouraged. People should be educated about the importance of planning, sunlight, ventilation, and green spaces. They must be empowered to question illegal construction and demand better services. Finally, I want to say that heritage must be redefined. We often think of cultural heritage as monuments or historic sites, but urban planning in itself is a form of heritage, a cultural legacy that affects millions of lives. Chandigarh's layout, park, road design, and institutional harmony must be seen as a part of this heritage, something we must learn from, protect, and replicate where possible. To conclude, I must say that Chandigarh taught India how to build a city that respects the dignity of human life. The surrounding regions are teaching us what happens when we abandon those principles. Let us not build more houses that lack soul, air, light, or life. Let us build homes that nurture health, harmony, and community. Housing must be more than just shelter. It must be humane. So, to close my talk, I must say we need a home, not just a house. Ladies and gentlemen, Chandigarh's story is a mirror to the world. It shows us that urban planning is not just a bricks and mortar. It's about dignity, health, and heritage. As we gather in Gimares, let us remember a house becomes a home only when it lets children play, neighbors gather, and sunlight pour in. Let us build cities that honor the past, serve the present, and protect the future. Thank you.